I hope you don't get the sickness.
My boy Kurt is a stay-at-home dad, watching Disney movies he never had. His daughter digs through all the VHS, crushing the classics in a princess dress. Informed like Scuttle, Kurt's got your ticket, making it real like Jiminy Cricket. Most off the Captain Hook, but if the Tweedle dumb, he'll be taking more shots than Bambi's mom. Leaves him raised like Simba, or cracked like the beast dishes. He'll show you a whole new world, you won't need 3 wishes. Stay-at-home Disney dad.
Time for me to brim with Canadian pride and wrap up our 11-week journey through Epcot's World Showcase at the Canada Pavilion. Being Canadian, it feels like all of World Showcase builds to a giant Canadian climax where us Canucks can stand in the shade of the breathtaking scenery and agree that the Canadian Pavilion is the best pavilion in all of Epcot's World Showcase. But it's not. It's not even top 5. Maybe it should pain me to say that, but I'm sorry. I don't know if every other country feels this way about their pavilions, but the Canada one is mostly stereotypes. They're not hurtful stereotypes, and I'm not offended in any way, but it's just like, maple syrup, moose. Okay, the exterior, absolutely breathtaking. Little trails through the mountains and the waterfalls and the garden, all of it top marks. Next time we go, we're eating for the first time at the celebrated Canadian Steakhouse. Yay. I hear it's great. The giant 360 movie they show is really funny, really well done, but this is Canada, and this is what the movie thinks Canada is, and I get it. BC and Alberta are the most interesting provinces for sure, but traveling to the happiest place on earth and going to the pavilion of your people just to be once again reminded that where you live isn't really interesting or important it's kind of meh. And I'm suddenly fascinated to see if the other pavilions are similar to like that. Like if they also only focus on 1 or 2 very specific parts of the country. Again, not legitimately complaining, but if you're not from Alberta or BC, you feel outside the hug here. Then there's the Canadian band. I don't know if they're still there. So maritime. Which, I guess you had to choose a genre, but there's so many genres across Canada, and like that kitchen jam style only exists in a really small community. I don't know. So, sorry if this feels like betrayal, but I can't give the Canada Pavilion a giant Canadian approval. There's also very limited First Nation or Aboriginal representation. There's some, but, to be fair, I sat down last night and I was like, if they left me in charge of the Canada Pavilion, I don't know what I do to improve it. So I'm like a child in that way. I don't know what I want. I just know what I don't want. And finally, you'll see at the end of this review when my son samples the traditional Canadian snack, maple popcorn. Not poutine or beaver tails or bannock or Montreal smoked meat. We get popcorn with syrup on it. I could be man enough to admit if they handed the park over to me and told me to redesign it like the Canada Pavilion again, other than adding more Aboriginal representation, I would probably find out really quickly why the things were included, and I'd have a deeper understanding of this fine country. But pour some cheese, curds, and gravy on fries, people. It's that easy. Poutine. While I'm hot, let's continue. There's no Canadian Disney movie. There's no Disney movie set in Canada, so why Brother Bear? Well, it takes place somewhere cold, so check that box. And it stars Bob and Doug McKenzie as a couple of moose. If you don't know, you should know. Wikipedia actually sums it up perfectly. Copy-paste, quote, Bob and Doug McKenzie are a pair of fictional Canadian brothers who hosted Great White North, a sketch which was introduced on SCTV for the show's 3rd season when it moved to CBC television in 1980. Bob is played by Rick Moranis and Doug is played by Dave Thomas. Although created originally as filler to both satisfy and mock network Canadian content demands, the duo became a pop culture phenomenon. Go watch the movie Strange Brew. It is an absolute masterpiece. So with the 2 most iconic fake Canadians of all time, this was an easy choice to represent Canada Pavilion on our final stop on our 99th episode. And yeah, I tried to tie Gretzky into something because, 99 Canada, but I already did Mighty Maze, so let's press play on Brother Bear on VHS. Ad for Ellen Enchanted. I've never heard of this in my life. The Princess Diaries, Anna Hathaway. Teacher's Pet, 0 for 2. Feature presentation. We start with an Inuit man telling stories to a bunch of kids. The Northern Lights are the spirits of their ancestors, and they have the power to make changes in their lives. But the biggest change this guy ever saw was his brother, a boy who desperately wanted to be a bear. No, he wanted to be a man. Okay, I guessed wrong. I there's a pause. And I figured since it was called Brother Bear, he wanted to... Okay, it doesn't matter. Let's continue. Also, this was the regular Disney trailer voiceover guy voicing that intro. That was so weird. There's 3 brothers, and one is the littlest brother, Kenai, who's small and he's picked on in a fun way. Great animation of the icy forest. The 3 go fishing. It sounds like Tina Turner singing this opening song. The background in this movie, these backgrounds are some of the best I've seen in any Disney movie from this VHS, this late VHS era. They have to tie the fish they caught up in baskets up in the trees so the bears don't come and eat them. Kenai ties up his basket, but the rope breaks and the basket falls and he waves it off. The fish will be fine. Fish aren't going to be fine, Kenai. Grandmother is preparing for a ceremony. She calls Kenai forward. It's his time to get his totem. See, to be a man, his actions have to be guided by one thing. And he is guided by love. He gets a mini totem bear that represents love, and his brothers laugh. He must let love guide his actions, and then one day he can become a man and put his handprint on the sacred wall. One of his brother's totems is wisdom. His other is an eagle that represents guidance. So yeah, love. He's complaining about bears, and they discover that Kenai didn't tie the basket up properly, and the bears took the basket and the fish. Everyone's mad at Kenai, and he follows the bear tracks to get the basket back like a fool. The bears attack him, obviously, and not with love. His brothers come to his rescue. This is really intense. The edge of the cliff is cracking, and the bear is advancing on the 2 fallen brothers, and the oldest brother, Sika, jams his spear into the crack, and he pries it, so the edge with him and the bear, like Sika, fall free, and his older brother locks eyes with Kenai as he falls to his death, taking the bear with him and saving his other 2 brothers. I wasn't ready for this. The parents, Disney, you're supposed to kill them. The bear survived the fall, but the brother didn't. His brother is dead. We have a funeral ceremony. This says, wait. Kenai wants to go kill the bear and avenge his brother, and his other brother goes, why do you want to kill the bear? I don't blame the bear for our brother's death. Ow! I popped this in thinking this was going to be about a goofy Bob and Doug moose. Kenai uses hate instead of love and goes to track and kill the bear. And this is intense once again. He finds the bear, he chases it, goes one-on-one with the bear. The bear gets the better of him again because it's a bear. And now his remaining older brother comes to save him. Again. Part of me kind of hopes this bear now kills his other brother just cuz, so we can just keep repeating. Nope. He gets it done. Kenai kills the bear, and the spirits swirl, and the northern lights open up, and ghosts of all the animals of the earth come out. And this movie is the greatest looking movie I've seen on VHS. The spirits swirl, and Kenai becomes a bear. The northern lights fade, and Kenai, now a bear, comes face to face with his other brother, then falls down a cliff into the water. The remaining brother finds Kenai's spear and totem and necklace, and assumes he's dead as well. Doesn't know he's a bear. It's been a rough week for this last brother. My daughter has so many questions, and I'm pretty happy we transitioned to some lighter moments. Grandmother is with Bear Kenai. He's talking to her, but she can't understand bear, but she knows it's Kenai in bear form. He's cute and cuddly compared to the one that killed his brother. She says Sika must have big plans. She says he got himself into this mess. He has to take the issue up with his brother's Sika's spirit. He can understand all of the other animals, just not humans. And here we have Bob and Doug Moose. Predictably, they're the bumblers of the movies, but hearing them in this movie, knowing those 2 guys got Disney paychecks makes me happy. I nod in Canadian approval. Kenai, the bear, gets caught in a rope trap, and a baby bear finds him. The baby bear tries to get him down by hitting him with a stick. When that doesn't work, he makes him a deal. He says the only thing left is to chew his foot off. Baby bear then says, no, okay, here's the real deal. If he helps him down, he has to accompany the baby bear to the salmon run. Kenai doubts baby bear could get him down, so he agrees, and baby bear gets him out of the trap. His human brother, Denai, finds him, and Kenai is like, thank goodness, hey bro, and then his brother tries to spear him because he's a bear, and the chase is on. He and baby bear hide in an ice cavern. Turns out the baby bear wants to go to the salmon jump, which is where the light touches the earth, which is where his brother's spirit is, so it's a deal. The kid's name is Coda, like the kid bear. They leave first thing in the morning. Bob and Doug Moose are back. They have no value added to all this movie, but I guess they figured an Alaskan movie would be a hit with Canadians. And they were right. This is great. Coda is trying to find his mom because they got separated, and he's annoying and breaks into song, and this sounds like the title track, and it's Phil Collins. Like, do they have Phil Collins, like Jason Alexander, just tied up in the Disney vault behind like hundreds of copies of Song of the South? Are they locked in there until like, okay, it's this song. I like this song. Montage of the journey, and he starts warming up to Coda. The remaining hunter brother chases the moose, and they want to hang with the bears now for safety. It's kind of funny. They ride mammoths. A while back I reviewed Bambi, and I remarked how back then they let the animators run wild with backgrounds and time-wasting nature footage and how they would never get away with that today, and they just proved me wrong right here. This is great stuff. They're just letting the animation breathe. Coda talks about the spirits, and he's not down with spirits because his brother is a spirit, and he was killed by a monster. He says his brother's name was Sika, and Coda looks up and says, "Thank you, Sika. Without you, I would never have met Kenai, and I've always wanted a brother." The moose plays I Spy, and every answer is a tree. Again, no value add with these two. Coda keeps telling stories about him and his pal Bucky, and Kenai is annoyed. Bob and Doug Moose remain on the mammoths and talk all Bob and Doug. It's so bizarre. I wonder what the process was to decide to use these two, right? Coda and Kenai have a fight, but then they make up. Coda leads into a giant rock covered with drawings and handprints, and it has swirling animals like the Northern Lights. He sees a man spearing a bear, and Kenai thinks the bear drawing looks scary, and the real bear, Coda, says the monster with the stick looks scary. This is good shit. We meet the two rams butting heads, and they're trying to smack talk each other to get attention of a female who rolls her eyes. They are close to the salmon run. His human brother finds them and attacks them again. This is all good stuff. Kenai the bear grabs Coda and runs away, but his hunter brother is hot on his trail. They get separated, and his brother gets frustrated. He looks down at his knife with his brother's love totem bear thing on. He screams and he runs and he tries to jump from cliff to cliff, but he doesn't make it, and he falls below into the water. It's fun being on every character side in this movie. Kenai and Coda continue on their way, and they make it to the salmon run. Dozens of huge bears are feasting on salmon. Everyone knows Coda, but they don't know Kenai, and they're grilling him. This is good stuff. This is pretty funny. Kenai pulls Coda aside and is trying to say goodbye, but the other bears drag him back to the group. And there's another song as dozens and dozens of bears frolic in the water. By the time the song ends, he's down with being a bear now. They all eat salmon. Oh, Coda is finally telling his story, and oh no. His mom smelled hunters and she pushed him into the bushes, and he's telling the story of how 3 hunters attacked his mom and she fell into the water, but she's okay and he hasn't seen her since and has no idea that Kenai came back and killed his mom. Okay, number 1, I hate myself for not seeing this coming. Number 2, I have goosebumps. And number 3, this movie is awesome. Coda's jumping all over Kenai and is like, "My mama always says," and we go into a song and we see Kenai trying to explain to Coda that he killed his mother. The voices kind of pop through the song once in a while. "Coda, your mom isn't coming back." And I am so invested. So now does he kill his human brother to make this right? Does the human brother kill him or kill Coda? I was not expecting this amount of depth from Brother Bear. Where's the Canadian moose, guys? Okay, there they are. This is a much needed break from this misery. This is finally value add for these two. They find Coda and they fight in front of him, and then they make up, and I guess that's enough for Coda to realize he should forgive Kenai for killing his mom. I think we're getting a Kenai-Sika spirit reunion, but instead the other brother appears. He still wants to kill a bear, so it's on. Animated fight scenes are always 10 out of 10 in this movie. Bear and man tumble from the cliff, and the human is about to stab Kenai, but Coda knocks him off. He chases Coda and raises his spear, and the Northern Lights open up again, and a giant eagle changes the bear back into human, and then the eagle changes into Sika. Human Kenai goes to Coda, but now they can't understand each other because one's a human, one's a bear. This is sad. Sika hands Kenai his love bear totem, and he says to Sika, "He needs me." Sika turns him back into a bear so he can make things right and look after Coda after killing his mom. This might be the biggest surprise twist ending I didn't see coming in any Disney movie ever. It ends with another ceremony, but the crowd parts, and Bear Kenai walks up and makes a paw print on the wall as everyone, including Coda the bear, cheers. I mean, kind of the ending to Shrek, but no disrespect. This movie was amazing, and great note to end the 11-week journey through the Epcot World Showcase. Episode 100 is before us next week, but before that, we got to end back in 2019 on our last day of our last trip to Disney World. We had a bunch of leftover meal credits. I gave them to our son, told him to try a snack from every pavilion and rate them against each other, and the journey ends here at Canada, where he tries the popular Canadian snack, who I, being Canadian, have never heard of.
It's maple popcorn. Canada, the final one, and it's maple popcorn. That's pretty good. It's okay. 8.
Our journey comes to a close. Go watch the movie.
That's what I think about.
What do you think?
What we have is a concern about Curtis Anderson. His interviewing style is not the best. His personal appearance is not the best. I was wondering if the man has some kind of a hold over the channel that he's allowed to be employed for so long with the standards of journalism and personal appearance that he has. Thank you.